Boom. A lot of people here today. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to a historic episode of Death, Taxes, and Sports Podcast, episode 138. We are approaching 150 very, very soon. I'm here with several of my esteemed colleagues, my fellow Johnson & Wales alumni, Ben Holloway, Marisa Tigney, fellow Michigan Wolverine. Well, no, she's not a fellow Michigan Wolverines fan, but she's a fan of those despised national champion Michigan Wolverines fans.
The Go in Blue. Thank you. Thank you, Go Blue.
Starting to come. I got to start talking trash. And we have two lovely guests, Mason and Tins for the Next Guy podcast. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining. How are you guys doing today? All of you. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Amazing.
Having a fine Tuesday.
Awesome. Great Tuesday.
I like the sound of the historic there. You said historic podcast. I'm here for that. I knew we were talking Lakers, so I got my Lakers jersey on. I'm pumped and ready to go. So thank you for having us.
Oh, no doubt. And hopefully Gary wakes up from his nap. I don't know. I don't know if he's hibernation. We're not in winter yet. So I don't know. Gary will be joining us soon. I believe you guys have a 1 year coming up on Monday, Tins, you were saying?
Yeah, we started the podcast last July. I don't know the exact date, but it's coming up. We've got our 100th episode going to be coming up this Monday, so we're going to have some special stuff planned for that.
Awesome.
Won't be a lot of sports stuff. We do sports mainly on Fridays, but then on our Monday episodes we call it Messing Around Monday, where we do like snake drafts of your favorite fast food items or candy bars and stuff like that. So we'll have some fun planned on Monday.
Good stuff. All right, we might have to start a fantasy football league this year. You guys might have to join.
Hey, there you go.
I'm already in like 8. So what's what would 9 do? What's one more?
Go double digits. Go 10.
Listen, I'm in like Ben knows. I'm in like 15 fantasy leagues. I'm already in 12 fantasy baseball leagues this year. So I mean, I love it. I love it. So let's get to it. So tonight we got a lot of NBA free agency, the disappointing duo of Kawhi Leonard and PG-13 with his injury-prone self. Bronny James drafted. Did he earn it? Okay. Klay Thompson to the Mavs, NFL, and much, much, much more. So there's been a lot of moves, folks, a lot of moves, man. And as you can see, we got a new big three here in Philadelphia. Man, where do we go with this one? Tigney, where do we go? Can they win a championship with this big three after this signing?
If they can stay healthy, maybe.
That's what it is. That's what it is. DTS family and those that are on this platform, good evening. It's all about staying healthy. Paul George is 34. We've seen him go through one that still replays in my mind, that horrific knee injury that he had that took him out for a while. When he is healthy, his shooting selection, I know, Ben, you're going to have the numbers on Paul George's last season, if you can look that up and just share some thoughts about how he was with his time with his former team. The questions I have, the biggest one obviously is health. Is he going to stay healthy? I don't know if they're going to, be that team that's going to make it. They'll make it to the postseason championship-wise now. I think he was, in my opinion, and Philadelphia fans, I'm sorry to say it, Sixers fans, but I think he was slightly overpaid for the track record that he has with his health and so forth. So I'm glad that he got the bag. That's good.
Marisa,
yes.
Sorry to jump in, but most free agents are overpaid. And in certain cases, a team
most free agents, yes, but $212 million. For what's it, 4 years he is?
Yeah.
For why?
Facts. And Mason, Tins.
Yeah.
Let me get you guys' perspective on this. I'll throw it to you, Mason, then Tins, and then we'll get it to you, Ben. But championship, they still have a roster. Talk to me, guys.
I don't see them having a championship roster, even with the big three. Even if you gave me Paul George Indiana version, I don't think that's enough to get over what's in the East with the Celtics. The Indiana Pacers now are an up-and-coming team, and the Knicks went and got the whole Nova Knicks put back together, so they're going to be a force. But Paul George, at this stage in his career, how much more is he giving you than Tobias Harris, who they just ran out of town for being okay at best? Like, Paul George is maybe a slightly better Tobias Harris right now as far as his injury and health goes.
It wasn't isn't the initial plan to build around the person you just gave a maximum contract to, which is Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah.
Isn't that the plan that you're supposed to build around him? Because we saw, gentlemen, how well he was and how effective he was in the postseason. But he has to have some doggone help. If that is your guy and you threw the bag at him, the last person that I would think of to throw the bag at is a somewhat 75-79% Paul George, in my opinion.
And Mason, like my thing is, and then anyone feel free to jump in. Like they had to do this. Like this was a move that you couldn't do. Like you had to get another star. And Ben, to your point, he was going to be overpaid. We know the injury concerns right now. On July 2nd of 2024, everyone's excited. But come talk to me July 2nd of 2025, and they're going to be in the same situation. Morey hasn't had a team that's made it to an NBA Finals, so a lot of his moves have been questionable. But I really doubt that a 4-year-old injury-prone who's going into his age 35th season, a guy who's going to be 39 making $55 million is necessarily the right basketball moves. But I digress. Mason?
Yeah. And you said everybody was excited. The books are even excited. I always like to look at what DraftKings or the books, any of them are thinking as well when these moves happen. Celtics plus 295. Then you have the 76ers, they're second place with those moves at plus 800. Then the Thunder at 850. So that's what you're looking at with the books. Now, when it comes to the cap hit, your top three, Joel Embiid, when it comes to cap hit, 51 mil. Paul George 49, and then Tyrese Maxey 35. After that, everybody else is single digits. So it's like, where's the money gonna, like, when it comes to supporting cast after the big three, where else are you gonna get your supporting cast? They have Kelly Oubre there, Andre Drummond, but then it's Eric Gordon also got signed on, but then you're looking at
Gordon.
Right.
It's gonna be minimum. It's literally gonna be minimum like veteran contracts after that. You were talking about the health, and then I'll pass it to whoever wants to take it. Paul George, 74 games played this season, but the rest with the Clippers, no more than 56. So it's 56 games, 31 games, 54, 48. Those are all with the Clippers. So we were talking about, Marisa was making a good point of if he can stay healthy. So far, this last season is the only time that he's kind of been able to show 74 out of the 82. It's pretty decent. But then after that, you're talking like 31, 54, 48. That's not the consistency you want to have with your star player or second. Yes, go ahead.
Mason, let me throw this at you real quick then. So we did see a little bit shades of old Paul George last season. And a fair enough assessment to say, do you think that was part of the reason why that the Sixers kind of in a way threw the bag at him? Because
Absolutely.
of the beginning stages of the productivity of the old Paul George that entered the league so many years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Because I brought up the 74 games with the Thunder, the previous team before that, 77 games, 79, 75. And his numbers were higher that previous, basically before he was with the Clippers. But this last season, you started getting back to the Oklahoma City Thunder type of, or Indiana. Of Paul George. So even with him getting older, I still, obviously he's not, he's not getting any younger, but I still feel like they're like recency bias. If he had another season like he did the past couple, I don't think he would have got what he got. So it was kind of a
100% agree.
Yeah,
Ben.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that, that is everything that's been said has been really good. I want to point out one thing, that the 54 games, I don't know exactly how many there were in COVID, but that was the COVID year. So
you're correct.
He played the majority of those games.
Good catch. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Overall point, 100% true. He's had a lot of injury issues. The whole thing is, I mean, let's be honest. The Embiid has been on the Sixers since what, 2016, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
so.
before then.
He got drafted in 2014.
Yeah,
2014.
Mm-hmm.
So in that 10-year period, we've seen him healthy, fully healthy in the playoffs once.
2019, I believe.
That was when Kawhi hit that
hit that jumper,
crazy shot over him, which was insane defense. Embiid was just phenomenal defense. The shot just went in. That's just how it works in the NBA. In the NBA, actually, in really all sports, excellent offense will beat excellent defense. Which is just how it works. And that's what happened with that Kawhi shot. But a lot of it depends upon Embiid. Can he be healthy? And we have 10 seasons of he's not going to be.
Yeah.
And is part of that on him? I would say probably so. As far as what he could do differently, is there that much?
No.
He could get maybe in a little bit better shape, and that might help. But like, just a big dude who has knee problems, and you go all the way back to Bill Walton or before, a center that has knee problems will continue to have knee problems. That does not go away.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah. We talk about in economics class, Tinsley, we talk about law of diminishing returns in economics, and the returns on Joel Embiid at this point are diminishing mightily. If I were them, I would have traded him this offseason, but that makes too much sense. His value is as high as it was coming off of an MVP season. Yeah. They could have gotten a haul for this guy. And I don't – like in today's NBA, I do not think you win with a big three anymore. The way that the NBA is, you need a full complementary team, and that's what made Boston so dangerous. Yeah. But I just think at this point, they should have traded him. And this is just – I'm sorry, but I just think this is an abject failure on the Sixers' part. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too cynical, Tins.
No, I agreed when Marissa said earlier that when they gave Tyrese Maxey that max, that's who they should have built around. They should have traded Embiid for whatever they could have gotten and built around Tyrese Maxey, who is a young player who plays, in my opinion, more an important position. The center position, the traditional center is fastly going away in the NBA. You need these kind of point guards that what Tyrese Maxey is. He can shoot it from anywhere. He plays good defense, and he is a facilitator at the same time being aggressive. So I would have traded Embiid away, gotten draft picks, gotten a good player to team up with him, and went from there. Not signed Paul George and kind of look at this more like a long-term rebuild instead of just, hey, let's try and see if we can win the East with Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey, because I just don't see those three being able to do that.
No doubts. Any kind of final thoughts? And we're going to move to the Paul George Kawhi for Clippers. Ben, any final thoughts, anybody, before we go to the Clippers?
Yeah, I'll be the one out of the five that say that they could win a championship.
What is your odds? What is your odds, sir? I'm putting the pressure on you. What are your odds? And we're going to hold you to it.
I mean, it's hard to say. You need them healthy, and there's no sure thing at all that they're going to be healthy. But I think if they are, I think Paul George, yes, the trios or the superstar trios have gone away and have not worked recently, but these three fit better than Durant, Beal, Booker. The fit is as far as if you had to pick three players that all complement each other. These three. Like,
you need it complementary, be healthy. They can fit all they want to, but at the end of the day, Ben, they got to be healthy. And if they're not healthy, at least the upswing of everything is they're rich.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out the most recent trios, this trio fits better than the other couple of trios.
Ben, do you like the plus 800 if you were to bet it?
Plus 800.
For them to win it all.
What does that mean?
8 to 1. So if you put $10 down, you would win $80, or $100 down, you win $800.
I mean, I'd probably put 100 on that. I mean, that's
do it.
I mean, that's low risk. I mean,
I just
lose $100. That's a fantasy football league, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to give it to this. I just can't wait till we get to this pecking order one, because this one's going to be so much fun, because I'm just like, ooh, those Knicks, man, and Sixers. I don't know, man. They gotta get a rest of their bench. You got Trey, Tyus Jones out there still. You got Buddy Hield out there still. You got who else? Trent Garrett. Whatever.
Gary
Trent
Jr. I'm like, man, those are three dudes that you could rock with coming off your bench. Like, those are really good, solid, above average caliber guys that I would do whatever I can to go get them. But let's go ahead and get to this next one. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Man, this era, overall thoughts and reactions. My overall thought is absolute failure when you're looking at the amount of capital that they gave up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 first-rounders, I believe, several of them swaps, where they can still do swaps for the next 2 more years, I believe, a second-rounder, and then Danilo Gallinari, but no one really cares about that. But
yeah, so can I go first on this one here?
Yeah, sure.
You use the word failure, and you can put failure and then with like 500 explanation points because the Lakers got Anthony Davis the same summer, 2019, July 2019. Lakers 4 playoff appearances, 2 Western Conference Finals, of course, 1 championship. And since 2019, Clippers 4 playoffs, only 1 Western Conference Finals appearance. Clearly, no NBA Finals appearances. So, yeah, huge failure. I mean, you already outlaid, they got Paul George. They gave up Shai Gilgeous, Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, which one of them turned into Jalen Williams, who averaged 19 points per game this year for the Thunder. So, as far as compensation goes and what the results were, huge failure. To me, one of the biggest what ifs is there was really only one legitimate chance where Lakers and Clippers, since that trade, when they were fully healthy and they could have played each other, that was in the bubble, and the Clippers blew the 3-1 lead to Denver.
Yeah,
that's the one thing over the last 5 years. The only time that both teams were healthy was in the bubble, and that's when they both went there. Everyone thought we'd be seeing playoff matchups between the two. Never happened, and that was the best chance. So I thought that, that just kind of sucks as a sports fan because we wanted to see them in the playoffs, and that was the only season that both teams were fully healthy. But yeah, it's a colossal failure, and especially because they clearly overvalued his friendship with Kawhi, or his friendship with Kawhi, and he'll take less to stay because Kawhi took less to stay.
Yeah.
Just you can't make that assumption. That's the assumption they made, and it fell flat on their face. So,
and you can also blame Magic City's lemon pepper wings on the whole entire experiment as well.
Facts. And since what the thing is though, it's that like Kawhi Leonard held the Clippers hostage because he was going to go to the Lakers, but he was like, the only way that I'm going to come to you is if you trade for Paul George. They did that. The Clippers made the mistake, in my opinion, by giving Kawhi Leonard that contract extension. I thought they should have given it to Paul George because I feel that Paul George was the more reliable, more durable, with quotations.
Those are big quotes right there. They're big quotes.
Quotes.
Reliable.
I'm just saying, man. But talk to me, man. And then Mason.
I feel like, it's obviously a failure. Not even just the short term. I think if they had won a championship, I think you can, banners hang forever, and you could say, we did it. We won a championship. That's cool. We can swallow the pill of we traded away SGA and all those draft picks, but now you have nothing to show for it. You've got a Kawhi Leonard who's still battling these injuries. There's no telling how much he's really going to do for the Clippers in the next couple of years. Paul George just left to go to the Sixers. And now you're looking at a situation where this Clippers team could be picking in the top 5 and be a very bad team, and they don't own the rights to their own picks. They have to ship that off, not just to another NBA team, but another team in the West. So it's just in their face constantly of like, oh, not only did we make a mistake, but we compounded it, and now we're going to get beat up by the Thunder on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about Mason, the Thunder, they made 2 really good moves, and I think they're the favorite in the West, just in my opinion. But
for sure,
we're getting there. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting there.
No, Ben brought up you also brought up the trade. I want to go a different route real quick. It's obvious that they killed it on that trade, but you know what it reminds me of? The 2013 Celtics trading their whole team to the Brooklyn Nets to get that haul.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You remember what happened? Kevin Garnett, they blew up the whole aging big 3. I knew I would get some reactions. But guess who was a piece of that? Jason Tatum, which finally got to celebrate, and Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost, I hate to do full comparison, but it kind of reminded me, and I know it wasn't like a big 3. It was literally like Paul George getting traded for like that huge, but it literally transformed the Thunder is one of the youngest teams right? And everybody got super excited. They made just this big leap, but it kind of reminded me of like that big blockbuster trade, the Brooklyn Nets and the Celtics. So, and maybe hopefully it will work out for the Thunder. I'm kind of rooting for them a little bit.
This is going to be, I agree with everybody what they said, but I think you gentlemen, we got to look at the two people that we have mentioned, which was Kawhi Leonard, and we talked about Joel Embiid. And their organizations are going to be looking at one thing, not what's going to happen in the season coming up later on this year. They're going to be looking at how productive they are going to be for Team USA in the Olympics. And then if they play well, because this isn't going to be a slam dunk for Team USA. You got Team Canada that looks pretty interesting. Team France looks pretty intriguing. Slovenia looks pretty intriguing. So they're going to see of those two guys, Embiid and Kawhi Leonard, aka Mr. Load Management, if they are going to be productive during this Olympics, and if so, and if it works out well, and the United States win gold, and they do, they have a monster game and all that, then pretty much they're going to be like, "See y'all, I told you so. We're going to be just fine."
I think that they would look at it the opposite way. You didn't do it for us. We did it for the Olympics.
There it is.
I don't think they'd be that happy.
Kawhi Leonard is not playing. Kawhi Leonard and Joel Embiid are not playing for the Olympic team. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I just don't. I can see it maybe more for Kawhi, maybe.
So basically, the dog and pony show for a medal.
Yeah, it just I find it it would be the dumbest idea for Joel Embiid to play. It's not a meaningless game to play for the Olympics, but just in the context of what you signed, what you're obligated for contractually, doesn't make the most sense. I just don't see it happening. But we're a month away at this point and nothing happened. But who knows? Any final thoughts on this Paul George era for Clippers before we go to Mr. JJ Redick and Mr. Bronny Jr.?
Have some respect on him. He is Coach Redick.
Coach Redick. Hey,
we have company. Like Mason needs to know. He's Coach
That's
Redick.
Right.
There we go. All right. But let's get to it, man. JJ Redick and Bronny Jr. We got a little bit Lakers talk here. I'm gonna throw this one to you first because I'm just dying to get your thoughts on this. They talked about that Bronny, and then we'll go to you, Ben, and then Bronny saying that he earned it. I mean, I'm not mad at nepotism. It is what it is. I would do the exact same thing for my children, but let's just call a spade a spade. The man averaged less than 5 points per game. I'm happy for him. But to say that he earned it is just an absolute lie.
Mason, this is where I look forward to what you're going to say. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we're not fools because nepotism has been around for a very long time. And people are now discovering nepotism. Why? Because Bronny James is now on the same team with his dad, who is still currently playing in the NBA. And everybody's like, this is historic. This is the first father and son duo. They're going to play on the same team. This is amazing. The marketing department for friggin' the LA Lakers is going to make sure that every single mother friggin' seat is going to have somebody in it. They're going to do whatever they can to blow this thing up, to market it, to sell it, to have everybody ticket holders, season ticket holders, celebrities that all are going to pack up there. They're going to surround Jack Nicholson and just make sure everybody is going to be part of this. The problem that I have, and I'm happy for Bronny James, I wish, and we've talked about this on the show, that I wish he would have completed another year, whether it not be at USC, but somewhere where he was going to be developed, especially his shot selection. He has range when it looks good. I don't want to take anything from that, but I feel that could be developed a little bit more, and I wish he would have went back to college his sophomore season. That's one. Two, and I think I said this to you, Ben, and Jeff, and then Gary in the chat, that when we were talking about this, because all of us are, pretended to be shocked when his name was called for the Los Angeles Lakers. I said, okay, if he's not going to go back to college, then he's not ready for the bright lights yet. I just would see him. I would prefer him, and he can prove me wrong, in G League for a season or two. I don't. Again, the things that I have mentioned, the things that I have said, and Mason, you can chime in here. I just do not. I don't want it to be, and I've seen this, and I'll pass this over to you. I saw someone in the comments when he was drafted compare this to a failed experiment with LeVar Ball, with Lonzo Ball when he came out of UCLA. And I'm like, I could see pockets of that. I mean, LeVar Ball was an athlete in his own right, whatever he did and all that, but not on a big stage as LeBron James. But I could see the pressure that was put on Lonzo to have that 1 year UCLA, come out, go to what they said his dream team, the Los Angeles Lakers, and then we already know how that turned out, and we already know that Lonzo has not touched the ball for 2.5 years. So the person that made that comment does not want Bronny, or thinks that Bronny will go down that same route, that the pressure of his dad being there, the eyes of the Buss family, Rob Pelinka, Coach Redick, they just feel that if they rush him into something that's not, that same road is going to happen to him.
And it's actually funny that you bring up that comparison, or whoever that was that brought up that comparison. As of right now, what I see those two have in common is that they were both a business decision. That whole Ball family, you saw them on ESPN. They brought in the tickets. They were this huge spectacle. What does Bronny James do? The father and son duo is a business decision, not a talent decision. As of right now, with his health issues and the fact that he averaged 4 points in his time at USC, you were talking about, you wish that he would have waited 1 more year while he was in college. If that was the case, that the Lakers would have probably not ended up with him. I think this was the plan. They knew that he was going to fall, probably go undrafted. I was kind of hoping that, I was kind of wanting to see if there would be a little bit of drama that a NBA team would actually just take him and try to trade him. I know I'm a Lakers fan. I know that sounds funny, but it would cause a little bit of drama. I literally saw a bunch of memes out there. The Celtics had the pick before the Lakers. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what if the Celtics would have like hold a king's ransom for LeBron's son? But as of right now, I feel like if he would have actually played really well and been like a top 10 pick and the Lakers would have not had that, possibly, I still don't see where they would be making a jump to not be in that. Mm-hmm. I hope they do. We'll have to see what else happens in the offseason, but I'm realistic, but I'm still excited as a Lakers fan. I think that he'll get developed either in the G League or in blowout games. Mm-hmm. So that's a possibility. You're like, I want the development. They were obviously, if they're up by 20 or they're getting blown out by 20, that's when they put them in. Mm-hmm. I saw a bet for him to score 25 points in a game was plus 3,000. So for you to bet $10, you would win $300. I was actually thinking about throwing that down, because if they were literally getting blown out, they might put him in with with LeBron, and LeBron does a bunch of alley-oops with them, and everybody's enjoying it. It's a big spectacle. You know, that's what.
And then hearing the talk about Rich Paul calling teams, and I'm sure that y'all heard that too, saying not to draft him, not to draft him, not to draft him. I don't know how much of that was true and it factored into, where he, what ended up happening. So, but hopefully, I want him to succeed. I do. I honestly want him to succeed. I just think that, again, the path of how this all happened, Ben, for me, I just think it's too soon.
No doubt. Ben, let's get you in this because I know you're ready and say how you feel in the Tens. Let's get you in this one. Have at it, sir.
Yeah, so I know y'all talked about it last week, but I also know it's still rather fresh, kind of just happened still. JJ Redick getting the job. So I kind of wanted to talk about that quick because I haven't given my take there. First off, Darvin Ham did a great job, but when your two best players want you gone, you're gone. That's just the reality. He did a good job, got him to the Western Conference Finals, got him to the playoffs again. But when AD and LeBron criticized him publicly, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's how the NBA has gone for centuries, for decades, not centuries, decades. That's how it's been. So once your two best players want the coach out, whether indirectly or directly saying it, they indirectly said it, he's out. Okay, fine. So then obviously they pursued Dan Hurley, who arguably they probably should have thrown a little bit more money at, and he probably would have said yes, but that's besides the point. After that, where were they supposed to pivot to? where were they supposed to go to? Because Monty Williams, it was already way too late for them to interview him. He got fired the day before Redick got hired. So there was no way Monty Williams was going to go there. And Monty Williams, what has he done really since took the Suns to the NBA Finals? Kind of been disappointing. You know, how it ended in Phoenix and Detroit. Okay, so we get that out of the way. No Ham, no Monty Williams, no Dan Hurley. What's left?
They couldn't convince Stan Van Gundy to come from the booth. They couldn't convince Jeff Van Gundy to come, you know, and take over.
The only assistant that comes to mind that I would have liked to have seen, and I still think he should have a head coaching job, Celtics assistant Sam Cassell.
Mm-hmm.
He should have a head coaching job. But besides that, out of the assistants, there might have been someone who's more qualified. Actually, not might have been. There were more qualified assistants in the NBA. But would any of them been like, let's get excited about this guy? So what did you really want the Lakers to do? Like, the Lakers made a decision because of LeBron's friendship, sure. Okay, fine. But what were their other options? There weren't a ton of great options. It's not like there was Phil Jackson over here. Like, there weren't a ton of options. So you can say he's the coach because he's LeBron James's friend. Okay, fine. But then you have to tell me the 5 names you would have had above him. They didn't exist. There weren't a ton of qualified candidates. So I wanted to get that out there on Redick because that was kind of on my mind for a little while now. I'll move on to the draft. I'll start with Dalton Connect. Excellent.
Great pick.
Great one.
Great pick.
He should have been. We all know he should have been in the top 10 quality-wise. You know, he was expected to be top 10. And JJ Redick is the perfect coach for him.
You can tell that was a JJ Redick pick.
That's what JJ Redick was his entire career.
Yes.
And he has a chance to be arguably a more athletic JJ Redick or a better JJ Redick. And that's, you know, he's going to – that fit right there is perfect. Now, of course, the bigger name, Bronny Jr. Okay. So is he on the Lakers because of his dad? Okay, yes. We all know that, okay? It's fine. But to go to what you said, Jeff, about nepotism, look at the Dallas Cowboys and how many Jones sons and daughters and wives and all this have jobs on the Cowboys. Would they have any of those jobs on any other team?
Nope.
No.
I'm not mad at it.
Like, it would not. Like that, it's just like it's gone on, like you said, for decades. And happens more common with whites, obviously. But that's besides the point. The other argument for me, Bronny Jr. at 55, out of, let's say, the next 5 or 6 picks that were left afterwards, would the Lakers be better off with any of those names? Probably not. So if you've identified the last 6 picks of the draft, including Bronny Jr., are all about the same as far as talent goes, which is probably true, then what's the big deal, really? Like, who were they going to get at 55 that was way better than Bronny Jr.? There's nobody at that spot that you can definitively say, oh, we would be great if we had him instead of Bronny Jr. There isn't a guy at that point in the draft.
What's the name of his teammate that was on USC that had better numbers? I can't think of his name off the top.
He averaged 16, 4, and 4.
Yeah, I would have selected him.
Yeah,
but
Collier, maybe,
as you said,
he got drafted at the beginning of the second round.
So for me, Redick and Bronny Jr. are the Lakers bending over, and you know what, to LeBron's, you know what, probably so. But did they have better options? Either way, it just laid out like there weren't better options really on either side. So I don't have a huge problem with the Lakers with getting Redick as the coach and Bronny Jr. for the reasons I laid out.
You know, Ben Tins, you know, I got to give a little bit of pushback because there's a bench of very qualified college coaches that I'm sure would not mind leaving the ranks of college and going to the NBA. And the first one I think of is Bill Self. a man who just won his second national title, and he is kind of like he's a lower variant, I guess you could say, of your boy Harbaugh, Tigney, in the sense that he has been suspended a couple times. There's been some, rumblings about academic situations, all of this. You're getting older, you're looking at it. I'm like, hey, I've been here for 20-something years. I've won 2 national titles. He has done everything you can possibly imagine at Kansas. He's had you mean to tell me he wouldn't be open to maybe coaching the Lakers, the type of cachet that he would bring?
I mean, given their history of firing coaches so early and given he's a god in Kansas, I
get that. I'm just saying you can dangle the meat in front of. All I'm saying is there's Jay.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I see your overall point.
All I'm just saying is that I think that they didn't explore. Like, I'm a Duke fan. I'm not tripping because the roster's trash, so it don't matter what coach would have came. But all I'm saying is that they had options if they had done their due diligence, called some agents in the college ranks. Jay Wright is still out there. You mean to tell me Jay Wright wouldn't come out of retirement? I would rather have Jay Wright over JJ Redick any day. Mm-hmm. Is there any disagreement on that? No. I'm just saying. But Tim's your thoughts.
I mean, I agree. I think they could have done a little bit better of a job searching for a coach. I think JJ is going to work out just fine just because LeBron trusts him. And that's really who's running that team, to be honest, is LeBron. And I'm a big LeBron guy. You're not going to hear me say anything bad about LeBron. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. But I feel like they could have went after a guy like Nate Oates, who's in the college ranks right now, but he's going to be perfect for the NBA because that's what he does in college. He plays that fast tempo, shoot threes, and just run. And that's what I keep wanting to say NFL. I don't know why.
Your mind's
NBA,
on NFL. You're ready for it.
It's true. My brain is always on NFL. But I feel like they could have made a run at a guy like that. But to go back to the Bronny thing, I agree with what Ben was saying. I don't think there was anyone sitting there at 55 that makes their team significantly better than picking Bronny in that spot. That keeps LeBron happy. And I'll push back a little bit. I know Bronny's numbers were not great in college. He did have a heart attack right before the season started. Mm-hmm. As far as coming back from that, getting in physical shape to play basketball again, I just don't think that was ever going to happen with what happened to him medically. Mm-hmm. I would have loved for him to go back another year in college. I think that would have been the best thing for him. To keep developing his game. I truly do think he does have a spot in the NBA, not as a star player. I don't think he's ever going to develop into that, but he's got a decent shot. He understands basketball. He has a high-level basketball IQ. He's good on defense, and he has the size and athleticism to be out there on the court, to be your backup point guard, to give you a solid 15 to 21 minutes a game.
I think that, when you're – I try not to get too caught up. I think that we as basketball fans, and we're going to get to this, then we're going to get to the next segment here, but I think that we have to not get so caught up on the points per game and the statistics because the way that the college game is drastically different than the NBA. NBA, I think, is more ISO ball oriented versus, NBA or college is more of a system. The prime example that I think of is Devin Booker. Devin Booker was drafted, was a lottery pick, and was a sixth man, and he didn't average more than 10 points per game. But a lot of people are like, look at what he averaged per game. But I'm like, no, you have to look at the X's and O's. You have to be able to understand the athleticism. I think Bronny James can be a 10-point, 8-assist type of point guard. But he's a drastically undersized 2 guard. So in order for him to have that, he needs to be able to show that he can facilitate an offense, which is not his skill set. So it's going to have to be the reverse as far as how he's going to be able to play. But we're going to keep it running with you, Tins, on this one, and then we'll get back to this order here. We want to rate the Bucks, 76ers, and Knicks, the most likely to challenge the team to least likely.
Hey Mason, say your last thing and then.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Say your last thing and then lead that segment.
Yeah, I want to be super quick on this because Ben talked about Dalton Connect, and with us being in UT Nation Vols over here, I wanted to just talk about it just super quick. So I don't know if everybody realizes this, he was the SEC Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. He had the Julius Erving Award, consensus first team All-American. Tens and I watched a lot of him play in March Madness as well as start the season. He was third overall scoring in the March Madness points leader. And Zach Edey was first, but he played 6 games. Mark Sears played 5 games. Dalton Knecht, 104 points for 4 games. And then you had several of the UConn players that played a full 6 games and they didn't even score that many points. So he's definitely a scorer, 6'6", 213 pounds. We just enjoyed watching him on the UT team, and we're excited for him to be a Laker. So
his shooting accuracy, but he's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah,
like he is one of those ones that's going to be like, oh, I still don't understand why he fell so far. But he, again, as we all said, he fell to the right team.
Yeah, because he was 23, not 19. That's why he fell.
Yeah. And you were talking about his shooting. We had a heartbreak loss against the Boilermakers.
Yeah.
He dropped 37 points, 45.2% shooting from the field.
I remember that
50% from beyond the arc. So it was a great game.
I mean,
and I hope we see that.
What the Lakers need right now is they need guys that can make impacts right now with LeBron James on that roster. So I'm glad that they're able to get a grown man at 23. He's a grown man at 23. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I was going to jump in when Ben brought him up. I just wanted to throw in my little piece there. So I appreciate you.
Mason, lead off the next segment, right? The 76ers, Knicks, Bucks. Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to go. I like the Villanova Knicks. I like them. I'm excited about it. So I'm going to go the Knicks. I don't see the Bucks are just the same Bucks, right? Did they really do anything so far?
I don't know anything they've done.
I'm gonna go Knicks, 76ers, Bucks. Was there another team? Was that the 3 that were ranking?
We're trying to do the pecking order behind Boston.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that order. I feel confident about it. We'll see. What do you guys think?
I 100% agree. Before I head out to the studio, I 100% agree. That Knicks team, the Villanova Knicks, the Villa Knicks, they're going to run it back. They're going to run it back, and they're going to be ready. And they're going to pick up where they left off, but better.
Yeah.
People need to look out.
They got to figure out that front court situation, though. I tell you what, the Knicks are going to be very good defending to 3. They're going to be very hard to shoot on. And what Boston does very well is shoot to 3. They shoot the most threes at the highest clip. So, I mean, with OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, all those cats, they're going to be very quick to the perimeter, and you're going to be very hard to get an open shot against them. That we're going to see.
I mean, heartbreaking for the Knicks losing Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah,
to the Thunder.
I was going to talk about that. Them losing him is pretty tough because I think Randall is a good player. He's another guy who struggles with health, and so they're a little bit thin at the down low.
I'm surprised he's still on that team, to be completely honest. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, they had to keep him, I guess, because I thought maybe they had a little bit of some trade rumors going around with him, but I think with Hartenstein leaving, I don't know where they could do that. I saw they got Paul Reed from the Sixers, who's a good backup center, but that's about it. So
Christian Wood. If I'm the Knicks, I call Christian Wood. I know he's not
get him on the roster.
Not the best option, but the next best. But Tim, did you give your order? And I know Tigney.
Honestly, it's the same order for me.
Okay. All right, Tigney. I know that you had to go. Did you want to give any final thoughts before you went to your recording ventures?
Listen, again, this free agency, gentlemen, and those that are watching, is just been absolutely entertaining. But we'll see if the teams actually put their wise investment for the teams to actually be contenders or pretenders. We're definitely going to see it during the summer and more so when the league starts. So it's going to be a fun watch to see. And we're going to talk more about it, but I'm excited.
All right. But hey, Tigney, I know you have to go, but hey, glad that you're able to make it when you can. And feel free to stay on however you like. But I know you have to go, but much love. Wanted to make sure you were able to get your final word in.
Enjoyed recording with you there. It was a blast.
Thank you. Nice to meet y'all. Have a good evening.
Sure.
All right. Now let's get to this Western Conference ranking. Go. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry, Ben.
Good. I'm going to be in the minority again and go with my section number 1 when I said they can win. So I got to be consistent. So I'll go 76ers, Knicks, Bucks in that order.
Okay. So you like 76ers ahead of the Knicks? Really?
I got to be consistent. If I said what I said,
that's a good point.
That's true.
Okay.
Listen, backs up his words.
Hey, look, I think I think it's fair to say that when you're looking at like who has the most upside, like impact players, I think that's the 76ers with Paul George, Embiid, and Maxey.
Don't sleep on that Drummond signing either.
Yeah, I'm not.
Drummond, he gets boards. He gets boards in his sleep.
He gets boards, man. 18 boards,
man. That's just my only thing.
I think he averaged 8.5 rebounds in like 17 minutes a game.
Hey,
like the dude was born to rebound.
Hey, you can't teach height. So let's get to this one. The rank in the conference, top 4 teams in order. I'm going to start with this one because I'm really intrigued with this one. And Mason, I got to have OKC right now because I really like those 2 moves, and I really like Chet Holmgren moving from the 5 and playing the 4. I just think that you cannot go into a second season with Holmgren playing the 5. I just do not like that.
I don't either.
I almost want to put him at the 3 because the way that he's so lanky and the way that he can run the floor and his shooting ability is just so solid for his size. So just more of a perimeter-oriented type of guy. And then Caruso, who, is an older guy. I think he's like 27, 28. But to have that type of veteran leadership and a dude who's won a championship and can play defense, and they didn't have to give up a lot. And I really hate the numbers, the plus minus in Josh Giddey. I think he's a vastly overrated player who is just a complete liability, but that's no here nor there. Then, for number 2, I'm going to have to go Dallas, but them starting Klay, they're going to start Klay Thompson, Kyrie, and Luka, but defensively, that's going to be absolutely atrocious. That is bad. But they're going to start Klay Thompson. You're not going to bench him. Like, that's just not going to happen. And then I got Minnesota, and then I got Denver, man. But Denver's sliding. Like, you lose KCP. You don't replenish your bench. But, again, we'll see what happens. If I'm them, I call Ty Jones because you need a backup point guard. I call Buddy Hield because although Buddy Hield is not, I think he's the next best option to replace KCP in that starting lineup because he doesn't need to be the number 1 option. That's kind of where I'm at. But
you can shoot 40% from 3. You got to roll in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Buddy Hield, I like him a lot, man. The fact that he's still a free agent and the fact that Tyus Jones also, maybe because I'm a biased Duke fan, but Tyus Jones is a really good starting caliber point guard in my opinion. If I'm the Spurs, I call him immediately. But that's just me. But talk to me, gentlemen. Go ahead, Mason.
No, I was just gonna say I like the Thunder. I'm gonna go Timberwolves. I don't remember what the options were, but I just
said top 4 West.
Just your top 4.
Oh, top 4. Okay, yeah. Thunder, Timberwolves. Then I have the Nuggets, and then this is gonna be funny. I want to put the Lakers in there because I have to, right? I'm wearing it, so why not? Give a little hope. Tens, what do you think?
All right, so I'm gonna be the outlier here for sure, but we're going to go Timberwolves 1. I'm going to get. I'm trying to think who I want it to, man. It's tough. The West is tough. It's loaded out there. I think number 2, I'm going to go with the Thunder. Yeah, Thunder at 2. I feel like they're building something over there. Young dynasty. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies.
John Morant.
Well, not so much him, but I think John Morant, off the court stuff aside, he is an amazing player to watch, and it's unfortunate that he got injured for the whole year so early into the season. I think they have a bounce back year. If you look back 2 years ago, the Memphis Grizzlies were the 1 seed in the West. So that's a team that's still loaded with a lot of young talent. I like what they're doing over there. And, Zach Edey, though I'm not a fan of him whatsoever, I hated that pick, to be honest, just because I do root for the Memphis Grizzlies. I was like, great, now I have to deal with Zach Edey in my face.
Actually, I like it, Tens. I like it because Jaren Jackson is not a center.
He's not a center. He's right.
Not a center.
He's not a center.
So I think it makes perfect sense. He's a lot better at the 4. But go ahead, Mason.
Can Edey keep up with the NBA pace? That's
what I'm worried
about.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with a team with John Morant that wants to run.
Is there going to be a fast break and you're going to be playing 4-on-5 because Zach Edey, he likes to take his time, and I don't have that body like he does. So I don't know how difficult it actually is to get up and down the court. But if he gets in shape, then you're losing that size that makes him fallible, that makes him kind of rough and tough down underneath the rim. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if he'll change at all, or if they'll change their team to be slower because of him. We'll have to see. I'm
Ben, 2 words, Rudy Gobert. I was concerned the exact same way. But but Rudy Gobert, because that man, when he's playing at Utah, they were running all up on him. I don't know what happened, but he's got a lot better perimeter defense, and he can run. I mean, he's still not as fast, and it can happen. These trainers in the NBA level are very good at what they do.
I also feel like it was a while ago, but look what Memphis did with Marc Gasol.
True.
Not wrong.
It's not the perfect comparison, but it's a good one.
It's pretty, yeah.
But if there's going to be considered that you pick, it's going to be the 2-time National Player of the Year. I mean, you can't. I mean, a guy that produced at college at the highest level, back-to-back years, was literally one of the best player, if not the best player, back-to-back. So, I mean, if there's any guy, Tins, it'd be him.
Yeah.
All right.
So that makes me want. I got Memphis at 3. I feel good about that, and then I'm going to go Nuggets at 4. So yes, I have the Mavs falling out of my top 4. I just don't think they got better. I think they caught fire at the right time in the playoffs. Luka's amazing. I love Luka, but I just don't see what else is around him for them to be one of those contending teams in the West.
And they did lose one of their forwards.
Jones.
Jones.
Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah, they lost Derek Jones. So
the other aspect, the Warriors, they haven't done anything, but they did get something for Klay. They got that 23-year-old Josh Green. So Dallas lost him.
Yeah, so he's a solid player for him too.
He was really good for them all playoffs long. So,
and we'll see.
I'll be quick on my top 4. Thunder 1, Timberwolves 2, Mavericks 3, Nuggets 4, and under the Nuggets, I just wrote WTF. Like, what are you doing? You have 2 of the top 10, top 15 players in the entire league. And it seems to me that Denver and the Celtics have gone opposite routes as far as the Celtics are willing to pay every single luxury tax imaginable. And to me, it feels like the Nuggets owner, whatever number is in his head, let's just call it $175 million just to put a number, he won't go a penny over that. That's just what it seems. It seems like whatever number he's at, he's not going over it. And when you have Jokic and Murray, you spend money because you're going to make money.
Jr. and Aaron Gordon. I mean,
I don't get what they've done the last 2 offseasons. It makes no sense. And the only thing that does make sense is their owner is being cheap.
Well, the Celtics owner did pay everybody, and then they're putting their ownership up for sale. So he's I'm going to pay everybody, and then I'm going to bounce.
I'm out of here.
I mean, the man bought the team for $360 million in 2002. They have a valuation, I think, almost $2 billion. Damn, $1 billion in your starting 5. 2 of those guys are going the wrong side of 30. They got to win at least 2 more championships to consider that money worth it. 1 championship, I'm sorry, for $1 billion is just not going to be good enough. But We'll see. Any final thoughts on this before we get to some NFL before we conclude? No.
Let's get to some duos. Don't skip the duos.
All right, let's do this. The top 3 most disappointed NBA duos, sir. Ben, I know that this is one of your ideas, so I'm gonna toss it to you.
All right, so I got 1. I didn't really do an order, but anyways, I got 3. So 1, I put Blake Griffin and Chris Paul. 6 seasons together, 3 first-round losses, 3 conference semi-losses. And in those 6 seasons, they averaged 55 wins. And I think they were over 60 twice. And no conference finals appearances. I know injuries played a role, but still, that's disappointing. I put in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons just because of what it looked like it could be to obviously what it turned into. But I feel like, they had an opportunity, and we all know Ben Simmons made the pass, and that screwed up his psyche, and Doc screwed up his psyche with his post-game comments. I think that he's literally never mentally recovered from Doc Rivers throwing him under the bus. Was Doc just answering a question? Yes, but to me, it was dumb in the moment to do that. And to be fair, I mean, Ben Simmons has never recovered from that. I'm not blaming Doc completely, but I'm just saying it probably wasn't the right time. Anyways, I got them as a disappointing duo just because of the potential in the draft picks and trust the process. And then they weren't together long. But think about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So Kevin Durant chooses buy Steph Curry, go play with my buddy Kyrie. Not only do they choose that together, they also say, screw the Knicks, we're going to Brooklyn. And okay, fine, you're going to Brooklyn because you don't want to play for Dolan and you don't want that added pressure. To me, they didn't want that extra pressure of being on the Knicks. And think about if it did work out, though. If they had won a title, let's say, we wouldn't be talking about the Knicks right now. We'd be talking about Brooklyn. They had a chance to elevate Brooklyn to be like ahead of the Knicks. And clearly it went the entire other way. So to me, just the impact that they potentially could have made as a duo and frankly kind of changed the landscape, especially in New York. And then for it to just that's got to be a disappointment, especially because of how offensively gifted those two are. Two of the top 5 best scorers ever. Like offensively gifted, like ridiculous talent, can score on anybody at any time. And for them to not even really sniff a title, I think that's disappointing. So there's
Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. That was my 3. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say, and then we'll throw it to Tins and Mason. Kevin Durant, man, I just – he's a DMV guy from my area. I remember watching him in 2005, 2006 at Montrose Christian Academy in DC. I've been the biggest KD fan, but I just find that his shininess is really starting to wear off when he's going from team to team to team, the way that he's going about doing it. And you left Steph Curry for Kyrie Irving. Yeah. I'm just going to leave that there. But Tins, Mason, your thoughts, 3 most disappointing. And then I'm just going to add Kyrie and blank to our duo because
that's pretty good.
Kyrie
covers
blank,
a lot of bases.
The Celtics, absolute failure. That's a mental hurdle, man, going into Boston. There's just something there that he's not going to get over. And then Brooklyn. And then I'm going to say the Cavs in the sense of the way that he went about leaving. Yeah, the way that he forced his way out. I think he redeemed himself. I think he really redeemed himself with Dallas this year. I really do. But, man, Kyrie and blank. I'm going to leave it at that. Tins, Mason, you guys.
Honestly, I had the same 3. It's crazy. As Ben was doing his, I was like, those are the 3 I had. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Embiid, and then Kyrie and KD. Because those are the 3 that kind of came to mind for me as far as like the amount of hype that we got with each one of those groups and then got nothing out of it. Especially that Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Those were like one of the more fun team ups. And even throw in DeAndre Jordan in there as well. I mean,
yep.
I mean, Lob City, you expected them to do something with it and they just never did.
Yeah, I'm going to go KD, but a more recency, and that's going to be literally this last season with Devin Booker. When I saw like all this come together, I got super excited, and we were never really to pull it off. And now KD's like requesting a trade. I'm going to go a different route. I'm actually going to go with early 2000s where I played 2K and I picked these teams because I loved them and I played better than how they accomplished. And that will actually be Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady. And also Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson.
Oh, okay.
So those were like the two. Those were like the 2 fun to play on 2K. Wish that they were winning rings, and they just never. I mean, they had winning seasons and they did well, but they just never like pulled it off. So I like those as like fun, just because a lot of my NBA was also hours and hours of 2K, and it was more fun to pick those teams and try to make them win, even though they didn't in real life. So just throw those out there for fun.
Well, Mason, I got to say, you're kind of, and I say this with all respect, you're kind of like the white boy that people may not necessarily want to pick in the 5-on-5 when we're picking. but then when you get in the court, you just watch me drop buckets, son. You're like dropping Alex, man. You're dropping knowledge. Like, what's up? And like everyone picks you the next game.
I appreciate that.
Mason's also 6'4", so he does get when we play pickup. Mason gets picked pretty early.
Okay, all right. It's not even facts. Y'all
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm like, damn. Okay, I'm gonna add one more. Shaq and Hardaway.
Oh
yeah.
I gotta say that one because I remember being that 7-year-old kid watching them. Man, that pick and roll that was unfortunate in that NBA Finals. Got to go with that one. Yes, but lovely. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to get to some NFL. Then we will conclude. Ben, I'll let you lead this one.
All right, so we'll go fast, time purposes, but we're gonna go 3. I'll just name my 6, and then y'all can go. We'll just roll like that. We're picking 3 NFL teams that are gonna disappoint, and then 3 that are going to exceed expectations. So I'm gonna start in the AFC East with the Bills. They're betting that Josh Allen can do what Mahomes did without Tyreek. There's a huge issue with that. The Chiefs have Kelsey, like one of the best offensive weapons ever, regardless of position, and they had him and still have him. The Bills don't have anybody that good. They don't. So to me, that bet is just stupid because it's not the same. They still had Kelsey. They still had one of the best offensive players ever. And I think the Bills are, for the most part, projected to win the AFC East. And I just think that they're going to take a step back because I think that they're taking too much of a risk that Josh Allen can elevate them to another level without Diggs. So to me, I think their expectations, I think they're going to fall short. I'm staying in the AFC East. I'm going to the Jets. You got way too many old dudes, man. You got way too many old guys. The offensive line should be better, but the 3 guys, I know they signed Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and I forget the third one. They're all in their 30s. They all have injury problems. I know they drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, but that's always a crapshoot regardless of where he is. So for me, the Jets, you're just relying on too many old people. And they also have, for some people, Super Bowl expectations. I don't see it at all. I just think that there's too many veterans on that team who are, a lot of them are injury prone. So I don't know on that one. And then I'm going to put my Cowboys because like they haven't done anything basically. And I think they've made a decision that they're not going to pay Dak, which I don't disagree with. But if you come to that conclusion, you take care of your next 2 best players, which is Micah and CeeDee Lamb, and you pay them. And so far, they haven't paid them either. So for their lack of activity, and I think the fact that they haven't paid Dak, I think, unless they do, obviously, but that could have a trickle-down effect into the locker room. Like, he's our leader, he's our quarterback, but y'all don't believe in him. So that could have a negative impact. So I think the Cowboys they just haven't done much. So that's those are my 3 disappoint. And then for exceed, I got the Bears as I listed at 1, and here's why. Their defense is still going to be but their offense, just their depth. Receiver, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze from Washington. Running back, DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert. Tight end, Cole Kmet, and Gerald Everett. And obviously they have Caleb Williams, who's thought of as the best prospect since Andrew Luck. So they're going to score. They're going to get plenty of points. So I could see them going like 9-8, for example, not necessarily making the playoffs, but I could see them going 9-8, especially with that offensive talent. And they played great. They probably played above their talent level on defense last year. So even if they take a small step back, I think they got enough offensive firepower. Rams, I got, because I actually truly believe that they are going to be the 3rd best team in the NFC behind the Lions and the 49ers. I think they'll win the NFC West, and I think they'll be the 3 seed, which I don't think anybody's really, most people still saying Seattle there. And then I decided to end with a bold one and end with a bang. and the bang is the Jaguars winning the AFC South. So
you got somebody excited on this podcast.
That's the bang, because obviously we know what the Texans did and who the Texans have and all that. But I just feel like how the Jaguars season ended last year and the fact that Trevor Lawrence has not lived up to expectations, to be completely honest. You got to throw away his first season with Urban Meyer. Like that basically didn't happen. He was screwed. But other than that, he probably hasn't lived up to exactly his expectations. But I think how last season ended, Jaguars will be motivated, and they still have Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning coach. So I'll say the Jaguars win the AFC South, and that would be exceeding. So I am done. Those are my 6 teams.
No, those are good picks there. I'll kick us off real quick, and then I'll have Tins kind of follow after that.
Yeah, I got you.
So you actually picked 2 of my teams for the disappointment. So I thought you covered it great. So I'm just going to do the other team that you didn't cover. And that to me is the Browns. I'm not a Deshaun Watson believer. It's a suspension too, but injuries. He's only played 12 of the possible 34 regular season games with the Browns. Just not, and I don't want to just go quarterback, but we'll see. Like, I'm really rooting for Nick Chubb with that gruesome injury, but he's coming off that injury, and we'll kind of see with their defense. I just think it's a tough division as well. Bengals, Rams. I am actually high on the Steelers, which I am going to next here. I will be interested to see, and the only reason I think that they will exceed expectations is because I really hope that Justin Fields gets a chance. I understand why the Bears did what they did, but he has this as long as he can stay healthy, he has this 2-way, if he can just take that next step, I think Justin Fields can really, and real quick, let me just start out. Mike Tomlin, longest tenured active head coach in NFL, has also never had a losing season in the 17 seasons. I'm a believer in the coach. I'm a believer if they can. And all together, Tinsley and I also we're doing a stadium tour, going to every stadium. We actually went to Pittsburgh last season, and it was a fun atmosphere. We enjoyed the stadium. But I think overall, the quarterback, we got to watch him live. The quarterback play was what's holding them back. They got 2 running backs. They're just, I think that their defense is good with TJ Watt, but I'm high on them. I'm just going to have that one team. So I was talking quite a bit, but down on the Browns, high on the Steelers. I'm excited to see if Russell Wilson keeps the job, I'm going to be a little nervous, but if he turns that over and they can let Justin Fields be himself and cook, then I'll be pretty happy with it. So we'll see what happens.
Mason, they do not play any of the division games until the second half of the season.
I'm a little nervous about that.
Well, we talked about their murderer's road.
They have to start off,
and the Bengals.
Yeah, they have
last 8 games.
They have to start off like, I don't think there's going to be. They say Russell Wilson, but Justin Fields provides you the more upside. I mean, I just think that's just fact at this point. I think Justin Fields is probably going to start week 3 or week 4 because you can't start 0-3, 0-4, 1-3 with that gauntlet because that gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Tough.
I'm just saying it's too tough. But Tens, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely. So Mason, it's funny. Me and Mason don't ever talk before shows. Like we'll do our own NFL stuff, and then he'll have things that are on my list, like the Browns. The Browns were the top one of my team. I think they're going to have a disappointing season. Deshaun Watson is who he is right now. He has not played the way he did when he was with the Texans. And a lot of statistics point to, yes, they have a great defense, but it's hard to repeat that kind of level of play they had last year. It tends to drop off a little bit the next season. So I don't look for the Browns to have another one of these miracle runs.
Their defense is likely to fall off a tiny bit because of the turnovers. Their luck.
Right. The turnover luck has to change.
It's going to go down.
Yeah.
So that in itself will make their defense go down a little bit.
Yeah. So I definitely see them as a team that right now they're getting a lot of talk of like they're a dark horse team to make a playoff run if Deshaun Watson plays well. I just don't see it happening, especially in that division. AFC North is a gauntlet regardless. And I'm going to stay there too. The Ravens are another team that I have pretty high up on my list to have a disappointing season. The Todd Monken offense gets found out. There's a reason he has been with so many different NFL and college teams. It's because that offense gets figured out and then it gets exploited by good defensive coordinators. I like Lamar. He's a good playmaker. He doesn't have enough on the outside. I like Flowers, but they don't have enough outside receiving threats to run this Todd Monken air raid. And honestly, Lamar is just not that kind of quarterback. He is a middle of the seam. That's why Mark Andrews is great. He is a middle of the field kind of thrower, and then obviously he can do what he does with his legs. So I do think the Ravens are going to and they lost a lot on defense. You lost a guy in your defensive coordinator who was everyone's like, go get this guy. He's the next best defensive coordinator turned head coach. So you lose him. You lose Patrick Queen. A lot of players out of your secondary. I just think the Ravens are going to have kind of a down year a little bit. Nothing crazy. I'm not saying they're going to pick in the top 5, but I just don't see them as a Super Bowl contender, especially like I said about the Browns. The AFC North is just it's tough.
Zay Flowers. Oh, sorry.
There you go. What's up, Zay Flowers?
I was just going to say Zay Flowers, huge on my fantasy board. Huge run after the catch guy. 45.1% of his receiving yards came after the catch last year. I expect that to be pretty high again this year.
It's true. They're going to be leaning on that. And then my last team that I expect to have to give everybody some disappointment, and this is because this team is getting overblown and picked to win the Super Bowl. That's the Houston Texans, all right? CJ Stroud had a solid rookie year. He's, for some reason, started getting MVP talks. I don't know. They won 9 games. I'd like for everyone to pump the brakes on how amazing CJ Stroud was. He won 9 games with a 4th-place schedule. It's easy to do that when you're the underdog that no one sees coming, and he's a good quarterback and everything. They have good talent. I don't agree with adding Stephon Diggs to that locker room. I think they should have just kept what they had and kept building that chemistry, because Stephon Diggs can be a ticking time bomb if things aren't going his way. We've seen that. Name me another wide receiver who was traded twice in his prime. Terrell Owens, who, yes, put up numbers, but he got traded because he was a locker room distraction. Stephon Diggs has some shades of T.O. to him. So that's and first place schedule. It's a whole different ballgame when you get to play the 4th place schedule. You get to play teams like the Panthers and the Falcons and the bad teams in the league. Now you're going to go play the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens. Like, it happened to the Jags. We won the division, and then last year we played a first place schedule, and we were 8-3 at the time when Trevor got, he started getting hurt. But that was when we had to do our tough part of the schedule, and we started losing games. So that first place schedule is a real thing. So I think the Texans are going to be they're already that team on ESPN that everybody talks about, like, oh, watch out for the Texans, like they're my Super Bowl sleeper. And then they're going to come crashing down the earth a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Give your Jags some credit, Tens. Give your Jags some credits. I think that they lost a lot of those games because he wasn't healthy. I think if he was healthy, you guys would have made the playoffs.
If you look at Trevor's numbers before the Monday night game against the Bengals, we were 8-3 with the 1 seed in our hands. If Trevor doesn't get hurt that game, we're competing for the 1 seed. If Christian Kirk he went on IR after that game. He got hurt in the first quarter. Lost for the rest of the season. He is a vital part of our offense. He's Trevor's go-to guy. Like I said, we were 8-3. If you look at Trevor's numbers before that, he was playing at a top 10 quarterback level. His stats were great. He was running the ball, making all the passes. So, that game was really like a teetering point for the season. Had we stayed healthy and things went our way, I think we could have made a decent playoff run, because I think the Chiefs – this was the weakest the Chiefs have been recently, which is sad because they did win the Super Bowl. But this was the year to go get the Chiefs, because they had some holes, which they've filled, because that's what the Chiefs do. But I think I'm very excited for this season. The Jags obviously are I think they're going to exceed expectations this year, just because people are kind of like, oh, you've overpaid Trevor Lawrence now. What a joke. What a terrible contract.
To do it though.
yeah, what's the other option? Trevor Lawrence is 24 years old. Like, are we starting over? Because that's the other option. Just start over. Fire everyone and start over.
He isn't overpaid just based on what he's done in the past, but when you're looking at his upside, you have to do it because you don't want to find yourself in a Lamar Jackson situation. So it's better that they do.
Yeah, and had we paid – so I'm glad we got it done when we did, because had we waited until Jordan Love, he's going to get a contract extension this summer more than likely. Dak Prescott is fishing for one. Tua is supposedly saying he wants to be paid before this season starts. What's Trevor's number after those three dudes get paid? It's close to 60 a season, maybe 62. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence is 24 years old. He doesn't turn 25 till the middle of the season. He's not even close to hitting his prime yet as a quarterback. And yes, he's not lived up to the hype that he came into the league with, but he's had some crazy, in my opinion, circumstances having Urban Meyer as your head coach, and the talented receiver we've had up until this point was just rough. This is the best team he's played on in Jacksonville in his 3 years. So I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a fun season battling with the Texans. The Colts will be kind of fun. And Mason, my guy, knows how I feel about the Titans. I think they are going to be picking first overall. Shador Sanders will be coming to Nashville.
Okay. All right. We'll see about that.
We'll save that for another episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll just have to get back on.
Yeah, no, we're definitely gonna bring him back on. Like I was telling Ben, I was like, these cats know their stuff. So, but yeah, man. But no, I thank you guys for coming on. We always like to show love and have you guys tell about your podcast. Feel free to tell about your podcast and all that, and then we will get out of here and go enjoy our dinners. Or at least maybe 7 o'clock here.
Yeah, we're on Central Time, so it's not getting too late yet. But yeah, so we do episodes every Monday and Friday. It's me and Mason and another one of our best friends, Zach. He didn't want to jump on and talk about NBA. He was like, I'm useless for that. So y'all go handle it. So it's three of us. We do a Monday and Friday episode. On Fridays, a little bit more sports focused, especially during football season. We kind of like preview the weekend that's coming up. And then on Mondays, like I talked about earlier, we just kind of do some more fun things. We do like snake drafts of fast foods and candy bars and just whatever random stuff pops in our brains.
Nice. All right. Maybe we'll do like some type of Olympic type thing or something.
Yeah, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But all right, Ben, glad, good. Always good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Mason, Tins.
Yeah.
What are your Twitter handle out there or YouTube channel?
Okay, yeah. So
about the show, but
yeah, you're right. You can catch us at the Next Guy Up podcast. That's our Twitter handle, and then you can find us same thing on YouTube, or if you hop over on the Fresh Network channel, that's where all our YouTubes are also posted. So you can see what we're doing while we're recording the podcast. But yeah, that's our Twitter handles. That we got lucky, no one had them, so we've got them all. They all match.
Nice. There you go. We love to see it. All right, John. We'll definitely tweet out your information here. To the Twitter sphere. It's still Twitter. I still call it Twitter.
I still call it Twitter.
We do
it's
too.
Never X.
All right, to all of our fans and all of our listeners, we greatly appreciate it. My lighting is terrible. Good Lord. All right. We appreciate all you guys. Peace and love. And NFL's training camp starts up soon. Wicked excited. Again, Mason and Tins, thank you for joining. Until next time, we will be back. Same time, same place. Peace out.